Good evening, everyone,
Good evening.
and happy Thursday to you. Today is Thursday, August the 24th, 2023. It is shortly after the 6 p.m. hour. We've got a full agenda this evening. We're going to try to stay focused and on task so that we can get out of here in time to catch the Waltons. Y'all do remember the Waltons, don't you? You remember John Boy and the rest of them? Yeah. Well, they're on late tonight, so we'll make sure you get home. See, and we have a legend in the house too, commissioners. None other than the one and only Candy McCullough. Y'all give her a round of applause for putting her on the spot. Candy McCullough. One of Rockdale's finest. She worked in Rockdale County for a long time, and she was the go-to lady in the planning and development department for so long. It's so good to see you and the whole crew. See everybody there tonight. All right, we're calling our meeting to order, and I'm calling for the approval of the agenda.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I apologize to interrupt, but we have a slight change to the agenda tonight. If you could include that in your motion. What we would like to do is listen to item B, which is the 2400 Southwest Tucker Mill Road item, and then follow that with item G, which is the one off Northwest Ebenezer and 0 Highway 138. So if we could have a motion to amend the agenda to listen to item G right after item B.
All right, commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I move to approve the agenda with the amendment to listen to item G after item B. But are we
Excellent.
doing B first or?
We're going to do B first and then G.
And then A?
So we'll do, I'm sorry, I should have included that. We will listen to A, which would be the comp plan amendment, then B, then G. So
Okay.
yes.
I
Thank you.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any additional questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're ready to move forward.
You have the approval of the minutes.
Approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of May 25th, 2023.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, moving down now to the rules of procedures for public hearings.
Each speaker must sign their name to the appropriate zoning code sheet and fill out a public comment card to register their intent to speak prior to the start of this meeting. Each item of business shall be handled in the order that it appears on the agenda, unless upon motion of the board, the order is changed. A member of the county planning staff will present each item to the board and will provide recommendations made by both the planning staff and the Conyers-Rockdale Planning Commission for each item of business. The zoning applicant or the agent will have 10 minutes in which to make his or her presentation. Any portion of their 10 minutes may be reserved for rebuttal following the opposition to the application. After the applicant's presentation, all registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard. They will also be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation and the speakers in favor of the application have been heard, the secretary will then call upon the registered speakers in opposition to the application. The opposition shall likewise be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the public hearing portion is closed, no other speakers will be heard. As a reminder, speakers are to address the board and not the applicant or the audience and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers shall be permitted. After all public comments have been heard, the board may elect to hold general discussion. However, no decisions will be rendered at this hearing. Decisions will be made at the next regularly scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting. Appeals shall be filed with the Clerk of Rockdale County Superior Court within 30 days after the final decision by the Board of Commissioners.
All right. Okay, that takes care of our procedures for tonight. There's no unfinished or old business, so we're going to move right into new business. And we'll start with item number A. Deputy Director Wheeler from our Planning and Development Department. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Am I coming in clear?
You're coming loud and clear, too.
First off, I want to say good evening, Chairman and Madam Commissioners. The first item on the agenda is an update from the Atlanta Regional Commission. Ms. Molly Boggle here is to give us an update on our Rockdale County Comprehensive Plan.
Outstanding.
Hi, good evening.
Good
Thank you so
evening.
much for having me here today. I'm gonna,
I can't.
you can't hear me?
Barely hear you.
All right,
Okay,
I'll
that's
lean in.
better.
Okay.
And you can pull it to you if you need
Okay.
to adjust it. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give you just a brief presentation about this process, a little overview of the timeline, and then we'll open it up for any questions you might have.
Outstanding.
All right. So state law requires that all local governments update their comprehensive plans every 5 years. You can do an update or a rewrite. It's totally up to you. You all elected to do an update, so it's not vastly different from your previous comprehensive plan that's been guiding the decisions you've been making for the past 5 years. We opened up that process in February with a public hearing. We created an online survey. You had over 300 respondents, which is fantastic. Congratulations on that. We don't always get that sort of turnout. We had our first steering committee meeting in April, our public meeting in May, and our second and final steering committee meeting in June. Local staff and ARC staff commenced on making those updates per the engagement that we heard from the community. And then it went to your Planning Commission for review, and now it is before you all tonight. We will have our second public hearing tonight, which is required by state law as well. It will then go before the Department of Community Affairs for review and comment, and then it will come back before you for adoption in October.
All right, sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yes?
Yes. Commissioner Washington, any comments or questions?
No, none at all. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams,
No, I don't. Thank you.
thank you so much for.
Except for I'd like to say thank you for all of your hard work and
Absolutely.
community engagement. I really appreciate working with you throughout the process.
Well, we've appreciated your attendance and all of the great ideas you brought to that process as well. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for coming out. Appreciate
Thank
your help too. Absolutely. All right, next item.
I apologize. Oh, there we go. The next item on the agenda is. Oh, sorry. Okay, we have to, we have to have it open up a public
And
comment
that
for
is
that.
correct. That's an oversight on my part. Thank you, Deputy Director Wheeler, and thank you so much. At this time, we do want to yield if there's anyone that have any public comments pertaining to the plan that is being led through ARC in terms of our comprehensive plan. Any comments? We don't have any cards filled out, but I'm just going to open the floor if there's anybody that have any comments regarding this issue. Rockdale County is moving progressively forward, and we have to abide by this rule and make sure that we have this in place. And I think none have come forward. I think we're all on the same page according to the response.
Thank you.
We'll close this portion of the meeting out, and we'll come back into our actual planning and hearing meeting for this evening.
You need to do a formal motion, Chairman.
Absolutely. Do I have a motion on the floor, Commissioners, to formally close our meeting out for the record?
I believe the motion would be to send this to, is it to DCA?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me clarify.
So I would just say a motion to authorize the chair to sign the letter that then we will use as a cover letter to forward that to DCA.
So I would recommend that a motion be made to allow the chairman to execute the transmittal letter to DCA.
So I make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the letter,
Transmittal.
letter.
to send onto the Department of Community Affairs.
I second that
It's
motion.
been properly motioned and second. Any additional comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. This concludes that portion of our business tonight. Again, thank you so much for being here and leading the way on behalf of ARC in Rockdale County. Thank you. Have a good evening. All right, Deputy Director Wheeler is back in your court.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is SUP 23-01. The applicant is Law Officer Mantiaya S. John, PA. The applicant is seeking a special use permit for the installation of a 200-foot monopole and telecommunications facility located at 2400 Tucker Mill Road. Staff did receive a request earlier this month from the applicant seeking a deferral of this application. The applicant is seeking to address some outstanding issues with the current landowner, also as well as perform a balloon test required by county code. So therefore, in your packet tonight, there is a recommendation of no recommendations from the Planning Commission to allow this item to come back to the Planning Commission for the next regularly scheduled meeting. Staff is in agreement with that recommendation. Also, since we did legally advertise this this application, we are still required to have a public hearing. The applicant has elected not to do a presentation, but is available to answer any questions and to do any type of rebuttal if anybody wants to speak in opposition of this application.
They can do it at this time.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. All
So
right,
do we
well-
have anyone signed up? Okay.
The first person, I'm sorry, let me clear. We did not have anybody sign up in support, but we did have 2 people who signed up in opposition of this application. The first person is Ms. Conetta Sam.
Come on up, Ms. Sam. Yes, ma'am. You can adjust that old microphone. That microphone been around here since a long time, so we can pull that thing down so we can hear you there. Yes, ma'am.
I'm speaking in opposition. I'm a registered nurse here in the state of Georgia, master's prepared, and I'm also a chemotherapy nurse. In year 2008, the cell phone towers built, can you hear me?
Just lean into it a little bit, Madam Nurse. Thank you.
A cell phone tower, the one that we're discussing, was built in Sacramento, California in 2010 on a schoolyard. 8 children came down with cancer. 2 of them had kidney cancer and the others developed brain tumors. The article did not state as to how long it took. It didn't say whether they developed the cancer right after the tower or whether it was several months. But they did develop it after the tower was built on the schoolyard. And that's my concern. It's a health hazard for the community of Grayfield. We already have residents living there that are sick, elderly, and no one wants their property to depreciate. And I want you to just consider, how would you feel if someone built that tower in your backyard? Would you want the potential, would you want to come down with brain tumors or kidney cancer? So, you know, that's why I'm speaking, and that's why I oppose it, and I wish that you would consider that when you're making your decision.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your passion tonight. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next speaker is Ms. Loretta McIntosh.
Ms. McIntosh, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Loretta McIntosh, and I'm just going to piggyback off of what she said. I agree with everything she said. It's a health hazard, and we live on Tucker Mill, and we do not want this tower in our backyard. And like I said, I pass this property every day, and I don't know exactly where they're supposed to put this tower, but I'm praying that you all do not allow this to happen. We do not want this. We just want our street to be quiet, and we don't need all this tower going up and everything else that's going around in Conyers. And I'm praying that you all work for us. We're the residents. So please honor what we want, and not with all this other, with the other stuff that's going on in Conyers. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. McIntosh. Thank you for coming out this evening. Are there any additional speakers? All right.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm going to agree with everybody who already spoke here before. Oh, my name is Volker Rousseau. I come from Fountain Crest. I agree with everybody, whatever they said.
Yes, ma'am.
At this time in the United States, we haven't really done any extensive studies. But in the country of Taiwan, they have done studies, and it does cause a lot of brain tumor. Now, talking about property values, if you live within half a mile away from the tower, your property value will go down about 3%. Now, if you are looking for a property and that tower is visible from the road, automatically all these homes around the tower will be losing their value about 11%. So this is something that we should consider. And if possible, I'm against that tower. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming out this evening as well.
So,
And
Mr. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like we've got a few more people who
Yeah.
have not signed up, but you want to hear. What we'll do is we'll have Deputy Director Wheeler fill out your card for you. If you could please state your name for the record when you approach the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director. Thank you so much.
So nervy. My name is Brandy New, and I live at 2456 Tucker Mill Road. I did not sign up to speak, but as it turns out, the landowner is not here because they are scared to speak. They have been bullied, they have been threatened, and they even received a letter just this past week saying that if they talk, they're going to be taken to court. And they are not the original landowner that made the agreement with this lawyer or this construction company that wants to put that up. And that's one reason that I didn't sign up to speak. I wish my phone had broken today and I would have given you the term that the lawyers had said they were going to take them to court for, but basically it was butt out. If you don't get out of our way, let us do this, then we will take you to court for that. And they only purchased the property in May. The previous owner sold, and it did not disclose to them this agreement that he had made with this company or this situation with the cell phone tower. And all they're trying to do is keep their land and keep what they bought the way they bought it. Their previous house had burnt down. This was the first piece they wanted. Within 2 months of living there, they began to be hounded about having this tower put up. And as it turns out, on several occasions now, that lawyer, construction company, however it works out, they've not even showed up. So that, to me, they've not done the balloon test and other things, and this has been going on since May. So that, to me, also shows they may not be exactly up and up or whatever word you might want to use, but they're not quite doing what they're saying, but still creating a problem. Does that make sense? And they're not from Rockdale County either. Are we concerned about our Rockdale citizens? Are we concerned about a construction company and a lawyer that doesn't even live here? So, and again, all the health issues. I know that one person's mom just recently come up with cancer. Is that tower going to make her feel better, or is that instantly going to make her worse? And I don't think that's what we want. And on top of that, if you're having trouble and people feel like we need this tower, it's not hard to call a phone company and get a booster. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to make a phone call instead of throwing up another tower, because there's already 3 within 2 miles of my house. So why do I need another one that's approximately 1,000 yards down the street? So, thank
Ms.
you.
Brandon, thank you for coming out
Thank
this
you.
evening. Thank you so much.
I have a point of order.
Sure.
Since we are having the hearing, though, can we vote on it without,
Not
on
tonight.
Tuesday? Not
On
tonight.
Tuesday, yeah.
On
yeah.
Tuesday, we can vote.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
In fact, you'll have it on your September 12th agenda.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Come on up, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Yolanda Porter.
And you speak in that microphone for us. We're recording this hearing for the record tonight.
Okay.
Ms.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Yolanda Portis, and when I moved to Rockdale County, it was for the small home field. Not all the traffic and all this different kind of stuff. I've been here since 2003. I bought my home here in 2017. Our road, Tucker Mill Road, I don't know everybody on the road, but the neighbors that I know on that road, we help each other out. Most of my neighbors are elderly. My mother was just diagnosed with cancer. And bringing that cell phone tower into our community, I don't know how it's going to affect her. I have looked online, it says this stuff causes brain tumors and all this different kind of stuff. And to hear it from my neighbors back and forth in the community, not even from y'all. I'm just hearing it in passing from neighbors on both sides of me. That's not right. A letter should have been sent out to all of us before y'all even decided to make a decision on this.
Well, let me just give you some good news. A decision has not been made. Okay.
And I just hope and pray that a decision, that y'all will not decide on doing this.
Well, I thank you for coming out this evening, and certainly we keep your mother in prayer. But we've not made a decision, and we won't be making any decisions tonight. Let me just remind everyone, tonight is a hearing. We're going to hear from all parties. We never make decisions at this event, this particular meeting. We're going to hear, the commissioners and I are going to hear all the information coming from each other, and we'll be making, in fact, Executive Director Rutledge, I'm going to yield to you just because there's a lot of good passion moving and emotions in the room. Tell us, let them know when we'll be taking a vote on all of this stuff tonight.
So all these items that are being heard tonight will go for a vote in front of the Board of Commissioners at their voting session on Tuesday, September 12th at 10 a.m.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, the applicant is here and has elected to use her 10 minutes for rebuttal. So-
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Good evening.
Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm Matt Tenaya John, 935 Main Street, Suite C4, Safety Harbor, Florida 34695. And unfortunately, I am that attorney from out of town that has been bringing this very complex case to your dais. I say it's complex because in 10 years of practicing zoning and land use law across Florida and Georgia, doing almost exclusively communication towers and finding ways to make them fit in various codes and communities around the southeast here. This one is the most complicated from a landowner perspective. There is a issue where Vertical Bridge, the tower company's rights, are not being acknowledged by the current property owner, and that discussion is ongoing. Because of that complexity, because of that issue, we've had some delays in certain things, such as performing our balloon test, which will be held on August the 29th, with the assistance of bringing an off-duty officer on to the property to ensure that the crew is safe. You've heard a lot of if this is visible. I don't know where this is. That's because this hasn't been heard. This hasn't been heard by your planning commission, by your process yet, because we haven't been able to bring it to fruition, to come through your process yet. So instead of making a decision based upon concerns and fears, we're called to deal in terms of facts and competent substantial evidence. Once this comes back to you, once this hopefully comes back to you, I'll be pleased to tell you how I meet and exceed every objective standard of your code. And I will be happy to show you the results of the balloon tests and the photo simulations showing a lack of visibility from most views. I'll also be able to show you the RF propagation maps and have an RF engineer available to confirm that the tower will be operated within FCC safety requirements. I would like to put into the record, or at least remind the dais, that the Telecom Act of 1996 does apply to to decisions on cell towers, specifically codified at 47 USC 332. It says that local jurisdictions can't make decisions on the basis of environmental effects of RF emissions. In other words, the law kindly asks the dais to restrict its decision to the local zoning code. But with that, I would respectfully request, and I only mention that because I would be remiss and probably get sued for malpractice if I didn't cite federal law. So with that, I would respectfully request that you remand this to your planning commission so that they may have a full hearing. And I'm sure they will take in full public comment again. It'll probably be further developed, and it'll be based upon the evidence presented, and then allow us to come back up to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right.
I have questions.
You have a question? Okay, Commissioner.
So give me a history, please. From what I'm understanding tonight, the landowner that just purchased the property without knowledge that there was a easement. Is there an easement? Are you all leasing it? Did you all purchase property on the, I don't understand how you're encroaching upon the rights of a landowner to put a cell tower that they don't want.
So the truth is that we are not encroaching on anyone's rights. We're exercising rights. Vertical Bridge is exercising rights they properly had through the lease that they signed that runs with the land and was recorded in the public record for anyone to find on December the 2nd, 2022. The current property owners executed their deed on March the 9th, 2023. So 3 months later. Yes.
Do you know when the house when it went under contract, and when I'm trying to figure out if you all filed your lease after they pulled when they were doing the due diligence for the house. It seems like it looks as if that they put the house under contract. Somebody realized that the lease agreement wasn't in order or filed properly. You all went to file it, and then they closed, and they did not have notice that there was something running with the land. And now you all are trying to erect a cell phone tower unbeknownst to the people who purchased the land.
Commissioner Washington, that's untrue. So the way that...
Hang on one second, just as a point of order. One of the things that I pride myself in is running a meeting with order and discipline and respect. And I ask that we allow everyone to follow the rule and the law. The speaker at the podium has the right, just as she had to be respectful during the time that you all were speaking. I'm asking that you control yourselves and put a hold on your emotions, and let's follow the rule in terms of a decent meeting this evening. Thank you so much.
Matt Tenaya John again for the record. Commissioner Washington, without going into case law, the way that Georgia law works is...
I'm so sorry. I know how the law works.
Okay.
If you could explain your process.
Understood. So they executed the lease on November the 21st, 2023, and they recorded the lease on... I'm sorry?
22.
My apologies, 22. November the 21st, 2022. And then they recorded it on December the 2nd, 2022. And as I understand Georgia law, that's when it's recorded, it's binding to all the world. The deed, the instrument that transfers the property to the current owners, was executed on March the 9th, 2023, and recorded later in the month on March the 23rd. Because that execution date was after the recording, the entire world, including the property owner, was on notice. And my understanding of the law is that that's the whole point of having recording.
So you're saying it's a lease,
Yes, ma'am.
and you all are actually paying the homeowner, the current landowner now, lease payments, and they're accepting those lease payments from you all?
Matt Tenaya, John again. The lease payments begin upon construction. So the tower's not constructed yet. There are currently no lease payments going out.
But you all hold a lease to the land, but you're not paying anything to hold those rights?
There, Matt Tenaya, John again. There was an initial exchange.
To whom?
To the previous property owner. I can pull the lease out. But the lease was executed and the payments, and just as standard practice, this is a lease subject to approval. The lease payments begin once the tower is approved and constructed.
And then you agreed that you filed this this document to get approval for this communication tower, but you haven't even complied with all of the laws that and regulations include the balloon test.
So, Matt Tenaya, John again. The balloon test was to be performed during the review process, and unfortunately, with the situation being complex, because you have to be out there and fly the balloon from the property, it did not occur. And that is why we are asking to be sent back to the Planning Commission.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Commissioner Williams, any comments, questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, Deputy Director Wheeler, back in your hand again.
Yes, sir. Excuse the PowerPoint presentation. I wasn't able to readjust it due to the next item is item G. This is a special use. I mean, not special use, but a future land use request and a rezoning request. The applicant is Calabero Holdings, represented by Battle Law. The applicant is seeking to amend the future land use map from office commercial to high density, and to rezone the subject property from 15 acres from AR agricultural residential to RM residential multifamily for the construction of a mixed single-family residential development. Again, the applicant submitted a request for deferral this evening. The applicant is seeking to have a community meeting with the surrounding community to address some concerns. The community located around Northwest Ebenezer and Highway 138 expressed some concerns regarding traffic and, among other things, the number of homes as well. So the applicant is seeking to have a community meeting with the surrounding neighborhood to see if they can address some of those concerns. So therefore, they're asking for a deferral. Planning Commission recommended deferral as well, is to provide a community meeting. I'm sorry, they provided a no recommendation to ask for the BOC to give a deferral for this application to come back to them. Staff is in agreement with the no recommendation. The applicant is here too, if you have any questions, and to do any type of rebuttal as well.
Okay. Well, Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
So I was at the planning meeting earlier this month, and I would really like for them to talk to the community, because I see so much value in the project. The applicant is even going to donate a portion of the land to the schools, and it's in line with the rest of the housing needs for the community. And so I would like for them to talk to the community and see if they can make it a win-win.
So, Executive Director, we just could simply, the Commissioner will make a motion, is that correct? That we'll put it back, or how do we need to process?
So I think so tonight, if there's anyone signed up to speak on this case, we need to hear from them. And then on your agenda for September 12th, that's when you can vote to send it back to the Planning Commission.
Okay. All right.
Was there anyone signed up to speak tonight?
Yes, ma'am. We do have two people speaking in opposition. The first person is Ms. Jonetta McFarland.
Ms. McFarland, come on up, Ms. McFarland.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Jonette McFarland, and I am speaking in reference to this, and I am opposing it. First of all, I want to ask you all, when is enough enough? There's been too many zone changes in Conyers. Too many, from single family to mixed zoning. I went over to Old Salem Road about 2 weeks ago, and my heart was broken because there are a lot of older homes on that block. People who have worked all of their lives, paid their taxes, and probably retired now. But on the opposite side of the street, there are multitudes of townhouses. So now, if those individuals decided to sell their home, what kind of return will they get on their home? Because I believe with all the zone changing, you all did not take into consideration the people who have been in their homes, steady homes, paying their taxes. What has been taken into consideration is this so-called progression. There's been too much progression in Conyers. Conyers is 12 square miles. I feel really sorry for the people on that block, okay? Then you look at Flat Shoals Road. There's a multiple of townhouses sitting right there. They look like projects. We've talked about traffic studies. These are still two-lane streets. So none of that has helped us. So I'm asking you with this particular one, do not request or change the amendment from the category that's here. We don't need any more. I don't care if they're supposed to be giving land to the school. The school has enough land. Conyers have allowed the, what's the word I want to use? The developers to do entirely too much developing. Years ago, I read a book by Robert Schumacher. This was probably in the early 80s. And the title of the book was Small is Beautiful. We had a lovely community. We had greenery. Now we have a bunch of townhouses, a bunch of apartments, a bunch of single-family homes that are 4 to 5 feet apart. And like I said the last time, you flush the toilet and you can hear it. We have traffic everywhere. If I live 8 miles away, it's going to take me a half an hour to get to my home now. We are asking you all to stop. Stop. Enough is enough. Please. We are the ones that are the steady ones in this community. We are the legal Americans who are steady in this community. So please hear us and do not approve this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McFarland. Thank you for coming out.
Next speaker is V. Russo.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Okay, let's talk about Conyers. So far we know that we are going to be building about 4,500 new homes. What that means is we are going to have 10,000 cars on the road. 2 cars for each household, and I'm not even talking about visitors. Now let's see that at between 5 and 6:30, I'm going to be leaving Walmart to go from Dogwood, go over the bridge, and go to Honey Creek. We are talking about 5 miles. It takes me 45 minutes to do that distance because there's too much traffic on the road. We don't pay any attention to the dangerous bridge that we are dealing with every day. That area over there, when people are coming to Conyers and going out of Conyers, that area needs to be beautified. So when people come to Conyers, they know that they're going to be coming to a beautiful community. Instead of having all these people come in here and building all these townhomes and what have you, let's take care of our neighborhood. Let's clean up all the shopping centers. Let's make it desirable for the businesses. Once we get a business coming to Conyers, business people know other business people. They will tell their friends, Conyers is a desirable, it looks nice. Come on, why don't you bring your business over to Conyers? It's all about advertisement, free advertisement. Now when somebody wants to come to Conyers and start up a business, we are going to make fast money and quick money. We don't have to worry about that much about the sewer, the electricity. We don't have to worry about the traffic that much, because easy come from 20, easy go back. And that's where the money is the businesses, not in building these developments all over the place. Because when you talk about one individual home, you gotta worry about the electricity, the cable, the sewage system, the water system. Our water system is really bad in Conyers. That has to be taken care of before we do anything else. What are we going to do when we have all these developers coming in here and complaining? In good faith, we bought this land in here. In good faith, we thought that your water system was going to be okay, and it is not. I think we are going to be heading into some serious lawsuits with these developers. But that's my opinion. I'm not an attorney. Schools are crowded. Now, so many people in Conyers are saying that schools are horrible, kids are horrible. That is not true. I work with kids. I worked with kids for 40 years. How would we feel if we were cramped in our office and we had a boss who couldn't control the room? That's what the kids are having in the schools right now. We need to concentrate on the schools. That's the only way we can get the education up. We are flunking the school system. We are putting the kids in the schools, they're like a sardines in there. They get elbows, they get bullied. We adults, we can deal with it, but the kids, they get anxiety and they will get violent. Then we are just wondering what the heck happened in that school. This is not acceptable in Conyers. Now, because we are having so many people coming here, so let's see what the cost is going to be. All these developers will come in here and say, okay, well, look at this. I'm going to raise your house value $200,000 because we are here now. But I got news for you. But the real story is, this morning we have 465 homes up for sale on Zillow. We have 60,000 homes in Conyers. It's only the 465 people who move out of here who will benefit from the high values. The rest of us, we will be paying for the high taxes. And that's what we have seen. You have proven that to us already. Okay? We are building and we are paying. You are building, we are paying. So when is this going to stop? Because when you look at the whole concept of Conyers, the median age in Conyers is about 40 years. They are kids to us. They are not going to spend their money in Conyers. They go out of town. 11% of us are retired people, 65 and over. We spend more than 90% of our income in Conyers. That is your regular paycheck every month to the city of Conyers. Am I correct? And you can't play with that. We need elderly people in here. Crime is escalating. When you think about and talk about crime, what kind of neighborhoods do they come and break into? The people who go to work, the working peoples are the ones who are going to be suffering the most. Because criminals know nobody's home. We need these older people in our communities. I live in a community, most of us are retired. We don't have these problems. So now another thing what I would like to address is, besides cleaning up Conyers, I think we should start from there and make this place beautiful and desirable. I love living in Conyers and I want to stay in here. But I've looked real estate out of Conyers because it seems to me that we are heading into a very, very big tax bill. So now, besides schools, hospitals, fire departments that we have to build, of course, we have to fix the water system, sewage, electric lines need to be fixed, and so forth. It's a hefty bill for us. What I would like to see sometimes in these meetings is, I like investing in homes and areas. I would like to come to a meeting where you guys tell me something like this. We are going to be building 1,000 homes to Conyers. These are the benefits we are going to get, A, B, C, and D. I don't hear that. If we have somebody coming in here with 250 homes, tell us what the benefits are. Once they are all built, the benefits to Conyers will be $22 million. And maybe then the elderly people will get their break from paying their high school taxes. And I think that I'm talking for about 90% of the people in Conyers. This was something I talked to in a homeowners meeting. And I said, everybody's against these homes. But I said, once you talk about the money, we may change our minds. But
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I want to say thank you. And I feel your pain and your passion. I want to encourage you. One thing is you spend a good bit of time talking about the local schools. I do want to encourage you to reach out to the folks at the school board. We're not in charge of the school system in the Rockdale County Public Schools. But as it relates to your time in terms of this hearing tonight, your time has expired.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Chairman, that's everybody who had signed up to speak.
Okay.
The applicant is here and would like to take his 10 minutes to rebut.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Commissioners. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Good evening.
Great. My name is Josh Mahoney. I'm an attorney at Battle Law PC. For the record, we're at 3562 Habersham at North Lake in Tucker, Georgia. I think you all heard what I heard this evening. There's a lot of passion with this community. They're very concerned about this development and other developments that are coming into their communities. And we hear you. I want the community to know we hear you. Even though I'm asking for a deferral from you all this evening so that we can have the community meeting, I'm taking notes. I'm tracking what the issues are. And I know you all know Michelle very well. I'm going to work closely with Michelle to sit down with this community and address these concerns line by line. So this evening, I just ask, I know you can't vote for the deferral, but we are officially asking for the deferral from you all this evening so that we can go forward with our community meeting and see if we can come to a solution on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right.
That is everybody. Oh, yes, ma'am.
So when it comes, if we defer this, it would go back to the planning commission and back to us?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, that is everybody who signed up. So we'll move on to the next item.
Okay.
The next item is a staff-initiated text amendment, case 23-03. This is a staff-initiated text amendment. Staff is looking to amend section 218-1, table of the permitted uses, the Unified Development of Ordinance of Rockdale County. We are looking to amend the permitted uses in the MX mixed use development. We're looking to add beer, wine, and liquor stores as the permitted use in that section. Staff is seeking to, the purpose of this text amendment is to create consistency in the MXD zoning category. As currently allowed right now in the MXD zoning category are food and beverage stores, as majority of food and beverage stores sell beer or wine. However, again, the current zoning does not allow for that. So we are seeking to pretty much kind of create, to eliminate any potential use conflictions in the ordinance by allowing beer, liquor, and wine in the ordinance. As well, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this application. It is a by right use, and we did not provide any supplemental regulations.
So what were your conditions?
Oh,
It says approval with conditions. The staff recommends approval with conditions.
That's probably a typo. I apologize for that.
Okay.
We did not have anybody sign up for this. We do have. Okay, well, never mind. We do have one person to sign up for it. Apologize.
Okay. All right, very good.
I'm sorry, Commissioners. I really am. I didn't see this.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Johnette McFarland again. I didn't see this until now, and this is a passion of mine. The liquor
Go right ahead. You're at the mic, so go ahead, Ms. McFarland. It's okay.
The liquor stores. Unbelievable. In Conyers. Something like 17 in a 12 square mile radius. The latest one is where, what is it, Gables, 7 Gables used to be. It's a huge building that looks like a prison right now. And it's supposed to be a huge liquor store. And I'm not...
So, Mr. McFarland, I want to share something with you, and we try to use these hearings for the purpose that they're intended for. I don't want to cloud the minds of anyone. And let me just tell you, one of the most confusing things about our community, because we only have one city, the city of Conyers, the majority of the retail district in the county is located in the city. So I want to make sure that you do understand there are 3 governments that govern the community. The county is the most dominant, but then there's the school board where 82% of your taxes are paid. Then there's the small government of the city of Conyers. They have the majority, all of what you see on Highway 138, the majority of that and all of what you see on West Avenue comes under the city of Conyers. So the number of liquor stores, I hear you. I just wanted to make sure you didn't group all of us in and that you had an understanding. This is the platform that most people come to vent and express. The city council has a meeting as well, the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays. The school board also have a meeting. They don't have a television and a microphone like we do, but they have a meeting for the public as well. Your taxes go to them as well. So I just wanted to make sure that, because a lot of times when people say they put all of us combined together, and sometimes it's quite confusing.
It is.
Yes, ma'am. Particularly when you're driving down 138 and then it turns right, but going straight is Highway 20. And sometimes that can be confusing to the most residents that live here. So I wanted to bring a point of clarity so you'll understand.
I appreciate that
Yes, ma'am.
education.
Yes, ma'am.
And what I'm seeing right now is it is on the Board of Commissioners hearing right now. So you all have a part in here. Is that correct?
Well, we entertained the hearing for both the city and the county at our hearings.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So the Planning Commission is comprised of both city appointees as well as county appointees. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you all have a part in this, and I want you to hear. It's here on your sheet. That's why it's confusing. If it was only for the city, it should be on their agenda as well. Now, it appears, tell me if I'm wrong, the city we need to go to, but it's also right here with the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
So you have a part in it.
Okay.
So I'm opposing this. We have too many liquor stores. We can go to any grocery store and get alcohol. We can go to any gasoline station and get alcohol. We can go to Walgreens and Walmart and get alcohol. How much alcohol, how much availability do we need for that? So when I see these people, and the Planning Commission has already approved it, wanting more, my heart is saying, why? Enough is enough. When do we really stop this?
Well, I'm glad that you're active, and I want to encourage you to come out even to the Planning Commission meetings because they're open to the public as well.
And we do. We're
Okay.
here. We're getting to know all of you all quite well. And
Yes,
we
ma'am.
do. And
Okay.
we're hoping that you all are listening to us because it's just too much now.
Thank you, Ms. McFarland.
Thank you for your explanation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So I have a question for
Yes, ma'am.
Deputy Director Wheeler. So are we talking about in the text amendment, you said that currently in a mixed-use development, no alcohol could be sold at all. Is that what you were saying?
No, I guess let me back up and let me kind of explain clearly. So what
Okay.
we're talking about is mixed use. So there's a mixture and there's a requirement, not just a liquor store. A commercial liquor store could not be a permitted use in this zoning district. You have to have a combination of uses such as retail, residential, and a commercial. What we're asking is to have to provide flexibility and creativity for developers who want to do such as a wine store or a beer growler store, give that option to them. It's a particular type of use that's used in the metro area, around the metro area. So again, we're seeking to create some type of consistency because again, beverage stores and food stores are already allowed and they serve that alcohol, they serve beer and wine already in their stores. But we allow that in MXD anyway. We allow for restaurants and things of that nature. So again, to kind of create a kind of a consistency across the board, we're seeking to add this amendment. Now, again, want to make it very clear. This is just because you have, say, somebody does a wine store or a liquor store in an MXD, that doesn't necessarily mean that a liquor store can go right next door to this. There is a distance requirement when it comes to any alcohol in the county. So we have that distance. So this is not opening the door for proliferation throughout the county. This is, again, is just to allow a more consistent approach to commercial development, as well as provide flexibility to those who are looking to be creative in that area. So again, that's all what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, okay, very good. Okay.
The next case before you is another staff initiative text amendment. We are looking to amend section 218-1, table of the permitted uses, and section 218-13, the standard uses and development of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County. We are looking to add a specific use for the mining section of the county ordinance. We are looking to create what we call dimensional stone. Before we get into it, I probably should break down what do we define as mining in the county, Rockdale County. The definition for mining is the extraction of minerals, including solids such as coal, ores, liquids such as crude petroleum, and gas such as natural gas. The term mining includes quarrying, groundwater diversion, soil removal, milling such as crushing, screening, washing, and flotation, and other preparation customarily done at the mine site as part of a mining activity. Currently now in the county, we allow two types of mining. One is the river and stream mining, and then we also allow rock for production and processing of crushed stone. Those operations are strictly only allowed in industrial areas. This type of mining that we're looking to add is dimensional stone mining. Dimensional stone is defined as a rock that is removed from its original site to be used with minor alterations, and rock that is broken, sawed, or ground and polished for the use of building or ornamental stone. So the idea is not to break up the stone, but to use a whole slab or a whole piece of stone to use it for a monument, carve, or some type of production. So again, this is not to blast or to basically drill. This is a very specific type of operation where you have a specific tool to get out to produce the rock. The dimensional stone extraction involves drilling and cutting, which generates less noise and dust than other mineral extraction processes. Again, as you can drive down, probably if you go towards west, you're going towards Alabama. If you happen to go through Douglas County, on your right side, there is a big mining operation right there. Mm-hmm. That is what we're not talking about. We've already allowed that in the county. We're allowing for something more specific, something less invasive and more environmentally, I wouldn't say sound, but something less impact on the environment. Dimensional stones also involves a relatively low output to ensure that the extraction process preserves the stone in a substantial large way. So again, we are looking to basically have a process where, again, you're not blasting anything, but again, you have a specific procedure where you're taking large rock out and then you're transporting that to the actual processing center to create your statues and so forth. The example would be the MLK statue that's in Washington, D.C., things of that nature. So we did provide 15 supplemental regulations to make sure that we, again, are environmentally conscious and understand that the negative impact it may have if we do not regulate this. Therefore, we did identify only having this available use only in agricultural. However, it is allowed in agriculture, but it still requires a special use permit. So therefore, any person who is interested or entity that's interested in operating this potential use still has to come before the board and still has to be approval. And of course, the board can add on any extra stipulations onto that approval as well. Staff believe that instead of doing an outright a case-by-case situation is the best way to move forward. Oh, I'm sorry. And the Planning Commission did recommend denial and so forth.
Okay. All right.
Anyone signed up to speak?
No.
Okay.
No speakers on this. All right, we'll keep it moving.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Next item on the agenda is a rezoning case 23-07. Applicant is Mr. Carl Swartz. Mr. Swartz is looking to rezone 1.7 acres located off a 1952 Old Covington Highway from R1 to M1. Mr. Swartz is looking to expand his current business of a machine shop located off Old Covington Highway. Off Old Covington Road. He's looking to take the existing site and create an office and a workshop off of 1952 Old Covington Highway. Covington Highway. Apologize. A few items of note. Again, the existing structure on the site, the house will be converted into an office. Then he will construct a 10,000 square foot workshop behind the office as for his workshop. He then will also provide gravel parking in the front, as well as outdoor storage area for his materials. The Planning Commission did recommend approval with 5 conditions. The condition of note is they asked for the driveway 50 feet from the public right-of-way to be paved. The applicant representative is here as well.
Okay.
Are they here to?
Good evening.
Good
How are you?
evening.
My name is Michelle Owens. I'm representing Carl tonight because he's stuck at work. So we are a small metal fabrication shop. If you go down the street through a couple of stop signs and where it crosses over the railroad tracks, that's us right there. And there's 6 employees. We all live in Rockdale County. I've always lived in Rockdale County. We love it here. I agree with some of the things that have been said tonight about, too much growth, but this area is completely industrial. And so Carl was looking to expand because we rent where we are right now. And so he found a piece of property 5 lots up from where we are working currently. But it was a house, and the lady wanted to move out of the industrial area. So we purchased the house, and so we have to have it rezoned in order to work there. We won't be doing anything differently than we're doing right up the street. To one side of us is a sod company, and on the other side there's a pallet company. There's also other machine workshops, welders, Biolab is right there, Cellophone. It's all industrial, and I don't know if you have access to the maps that are in our application, but you can see, like, we're right here right now, and we're going right here. Everything around us is industrial, and your future land use already has it as light industrial. So hopefully, that encourages it to be rezoned in our favor anyway. Other than that, if you have questions for me as far as like what we do or the recommendations that were given to us by the Planning Commission, I can definitely help, because guess who filled out this application? It wasn't Carl.
All right, okay. Commissioners, you have any questions for
So,
Commissioner Weeks?
well, that's just interesting that there's even a section zoned single-family
Yeah, I believe
residential.
they were just there all these years,
Yeah,
and yeah,
Okay.
there's 2 lots on that street that are residential,
Okay.
and I don't know what's going on with that other lot, but I know,
Okay.
yeah, if you
All
can,
right.
I can't even imagine trying to live there. Like, we joke about spending the night in the office, but I couldn't even imagine.
Well, the
Yeah.
homes were there before the industrial. was
Oh,
there.
exactly. And years ago, this house was built in 1952, and we are going to keep the house
Yeah.
and just build our shop behind it. We're going to have to cut down some trees. Other than that, no, there will be no changes to like the water, the sewer. We like the idea of paving the road. Just it'll be easier on our trucks anyway. We're hardly there. It's just a home base. We do a little bit of like CNC cutting and welding in shop, but most of our work is done out and around. One of our main customers is ESG, our water treatment plant here, so we do lots of maintenance for them. We work at ER Snell, asphalt, we do maintenance for them. So like I said, a lot of our work isn't done at the property. It's just going to be our home base and my office.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure. Thank
All right.
you.
Was there anyone signed up to speak? Okay.
All right. Let's keep it moving.
The next item on the case is a future land use case 23-01 and a rezoning case 23-08. The applicant is Ross Mundy. They are looking to amend the future land use map from commercial to high density and to rezone the 7.7 acre from commercial to RM residential multifamily for the construction of 66 townhomes. The subject property is located, again, off of 1816 Parker Road. A few items of note. The applicant is looking to have a density of 8.4 units per acre. The proposed zoning of RM allows for 12 units per acre, so they are underneath that. They're looking to have a minimum of square footage for their homes to be 1,500. It ranges from 1,500 to 1,600. The applicant is going to have access along Parker Road. So again, there won't be any access points besides Parker Road. The applicant has indicated they will provide a pocket park, a green space, and a dog park. Currently, it's not shown on the site plan, but they will be required to install sidewalks as well. The Planning Commission did recommend approval. The only change in the approval that the Planning Commission recommended was the 5% rental cap for all homes being sold in the subdivision. The applicant is here to answer any questions.
Okay. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm Ross Mundy. Good to be back in Conyers. I grew up here, graduated from Heritage High School, and I wish you would take that into consideration, although Rockdale's represented more so than me.
Are you trying to start a fight in here tonight?
But I'm here on behalf of the Harville Estate. Mark Harville's here, and Sandy, it's actually Candy's sister. So this project came to fruition out of them being under contract for a couple years. They couldn't come up with a plan. I think they wanted to do elder care, and the density just didn't work out. So along the way, this has been planned for different uses. multifamily, and then back to commercial. So we feel like the good thing about getting the rooftops here is the use of the public sidewalks and the pedestrian access and the restaurant across the street. We understand people's concern, as do I, because I sit in the traffic too. But this is so close to I-20 that it makes sense, if you're going to do it here. So.
All right. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Washington?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Did we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, ma'am. We have one person, Robert Brindley. I hope I said that correctly. Oh, all right.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I probably won't need this, but I'm going to use it anyway.
Well, we can't hear you, to tell you the truth.
You can't? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, I'm Robert Brindley. I bought 1870 Parker Road back in 1987. In 1991, Mike Kratz helped everybody on that street get rezoned commercial. Delma Harville was one of those people.
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't hear what you said.
Delma Harville, the Harvilles here in the back. That's their dad, I guess.
Every time you turn away from the mic, we
Okay,
lose you. I want to ask that you just direct everything to us so we can
Bonnie
hear you.
Ballard, Hazel Bryant, Joseph Stanton, Edward Armstrong, George and Stella Smith. We all were rezoned commercial back in 1991. Since 1991 to 2021, Rockdale County has obviously raised our property taxes because we're zoned commercial now. I've paid on an average of $5,000 a year for 30 years. That's $150,000 I pay to Rockdale County. And now this guy wants to rezone us back to residential. That whole street is supposed to go commercial. I really vigorously oppose this, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's look at Miller's Chapel Road properties that are going up right now. The Miller's Point Townhomes, 200 apartments, 2 cars per apartment, that's 400 cars additional on Miller's Chapel Road, 2-lane road, right? If you have 4 people per unit, they flush the toilet 12 times a day. That's 12 gallons of water a day. Let's take 4 showers or baths a day. 25 gallons per shower or bath, that's 100 gallons. 112 per day, per unit, comes up to 22,400 gallons of water per day, times 365 days is 8 million gallons of water additional that they're going to use just in that subdivision. Go down the road to Alder Park, 120 single-family homes. Same math, another 240 cars on Miller's Chapel. Another 4.9 million gallons of water being used. Go down the road a little bit more, Vaughn Townhomes, 60 units, that's another 120 cars on a 2-lane road, Miller's Chapel. Your total is going to be 760 more cars on that 2-lane road a day. That's an additional 2.4 million gallons of water. So right now, just on Miller's Chapel, you're up to 15 million gallons of water a year. Where does Rockdale County get their water from? Commissioner? DeKalb County?
No, sir, we have our own reservoir.
We do?
Yes, sir. How long you been here?
I bought that property in 87. I moved to Georgia in 79.
Okay. Yes, sir. We have our own reservoir, and the area you're speaking to is inside the city limits of Conyers.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 1816 Parker Road, they want to build 62 townhomes. That's another 120 cars. Miller's Chapel butts into Parker Road, right? So you got that 740 cars plus 120 that want to get to Kroger's, to Lowe's, the library, downtown. Parker Road has been redone to 4 lanes, but it has a median in it. You got to turn around at Liberty Plumbing to go back up to this area they want to put townhomes in. And as this lady said before, we need more roofs in Rockdale County like we need a hole head. I can spend 10 minutes trying to get out of my driveway. Because people that come across 138 fly down Parker Road, no police presence whatsoever. It can take me 10 minutes to get out of there. And now you're going to add over 800 cars going back and forth on that road a day. That's rather dangerous to my way of thinking, folks. I'm really kind of curious. Did planning and zoning really recommend rezoning those 3 areas on Miller's Chapel? Or did you guys just rubber stamp it?
Let me share with you that portion of the road that you're talking about, Miller's Chapel Road, also Parker Road, that's within the city limits of the city of Conyers. As I stated earlier, it can be quite confusing. But there is another government called the City of Conyers. You've been here a while, I'm sure you're familiar with what I'm talking about. That's within their jurisdiction. The complaint or the contest or the petition, you have to take that up with the City of Conyers, the mayor's office, and the city council.
But you're the guys that approved the zoning request, right?
No, sir. So please understand that the City of Conyers have their own planning department.
Gotcha.
Right. There's a planning commission that represents both the city and the county. We have representatives on that commission, and so does the City of Conyers. So, no, sir.
Okay. I was not able to come to the meeting on August 10th. Ross Mundy started his presentation by saying there's a 55 and older development nearby and that these people would like to see younger people. I'm 71. I don't want to be around younger people with screaming kids. That has nothing to do with Parker Road.
Okay.
He also said that Rockdale County needs more roofs. There's already 380 on Miller's Chapel Road, and another 100 or more are going up on Fletchell's, and he wants to put 62 on Parker Road. It's just not there. Mr. Weinstein asked him about how big these properties would be square footage wise. First he said, well, it's going to be 800 to 1,200, I'm not really sure. And he looked at Weinstein and he didn't like how he looked. He said, well, 1,500 now. And then it went to 1,600. He didn't want to put himself into a corner and decide in front of that board how big these properties were going to be. He said, I don't want to hold you up from saying yay to approving his application. So this guy is going to say whatever it takes to get this approved. He also said these 60, he was asked if these 60 units would be rentals or would be for sale. He said, I'm not sure, I'm leaving my options open. Well, Ms. Lambert said she could not approve this request without knowing if there were going to be rentals or sold. Monday runs back up to the microphone, we're going to sell them, we're going to sell them. I don't know if I believe this guy. I don't think we need any more rooftops on Miller's Chapel and Parker Road. And as this lady said before, on Ebenezer, who's going to buy all this stuff? Where are these people going to work? I just think that we're just overdoing it a little bit. I want to keep Parker Road commercial.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Mr. Wheeler.
Anyone else?
Let's keep it moving.
Nope, that was, we didn't have anybody else sign up to speak in opposition.
Okay.
The applicant did have time left over.
That's good.
Did you want to? Good. Okay, all right.
Thanks. All right.
The old folks from across the road are leaving now.
Funny.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
The last item on the agenda is a change in condition case. Is CIC case number 23-01. The applicant is Mr. Caleb Smith. Mr. Smith is seeking to to amend the approved zoning conditions for RZ 21-05. This was a rezoning application back in 2021, located at 1076 Honey Creek Road. This was a townhome development. Mr. Smith is looking to amend seven specific conditions, and I will read them into the record so we are clear on what he's asking to be amended. So he's asking to amend condition 1. I'm going to read. The rezoning site plan prepared, and he scratched out planners and engineers collaborative. He scratched out planners and engineers collaborative. He's asking that we consider the site plan prepared by Patrick and Associated instead of the date of April 16th, 2021. He's asking for a consideration of June 12th, 2023. Second condition he's asking to modify is to restrict the townhome development not to exceed 67 units and permit, he's again to scratch out 36 units and replace with 12 units shall be rear loaded. So again, so not have 36 rear loaded units, but to have 12 rear loaded units. And to scratch out 31 and include 55 units to be front loaded. So again, to be clear, the original zoning had 36 rear-loaded units. He is seeking to amend that to include 12 units to be rear-loaded, and then instead of the 31 front-loaded, he's seeking to have 55 front-loaded units. And also to include a provision of the number of units shall not exceed 8 units without the approval of a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals. Next, he's seeking to amend condition number 3. All garage doors shall be classic style. Apparently, under the builders, I'm sorry, if I can rephrase how he's explained. Classic style is a very minimum, basic garage style. So Mr. Smith is asking to not be hold to that classic style, but to a different style. He is sure it would be higher quality. Mm-hmm. I'll let him explain in detail. As well as to all exterior lighting and fixtures directly attached to the dwelling units shall be classic style. Again, he's asking to amend to change out classic style because again, the way the code, way the conditions are written, he has to adhere to classic style, and that was condition number 4. Condition 5, he's asking to amend the covenants and conditions and restrictions shall include a clause to limit the maximum number of homes that can be rented or leased within development of any one time to be no more than 5%. He is asking to amend that to include a development if the board chooses, if the development is to be 100% rented, it shall be maintained by a professional management company. So he's asking for flexibility. So again, he's asking to determine if the board chooses to allow him to determine if he cannot, if he chooses not to sell the property and he wants to do renting, then the rental company will be in charge of managing the entire property. I wanted to be noted that the Planning Commission did not agree with that recommendation, so they struck that recommendation out. They would like for this to still be a property owned subdivision with a 5% rental cap. Number 6, all internal streets shall be minimum of 24 feet wide from face of curb to face of curb. And he's asking you to scratch out a section that includes maintained by a homeowners association. So again, he's asking for it to be built to Rockdale County standards and dedicated to the Rockdale County as noted as a guiding layout in Exhibit D. So he is seeking that the maintain and the maintenance of the road shall be handled by Rockdale County instead of a homeowners association. And lastly, he's asking you to include a provision that says all roadways and yards shall be grass areas and shall be sodded. The Planning Commission did recommend approval, as I noted earlier, with the only caveat of that they want it to be, instead of rentals, but all homeowners within a homeowners association with a rental cap of 5%. The applicant is here to answer any questions as well.
So I have a question about the Planning Commission. So did they agree with this recommendation to have the roads be maintained by Rockdale County?
Yes, well, honestly, they did not address that. They left that blank. They were more concerned about the homeowners association and the rental cap. Again, I asked for clarification, and they were still on the homeowners association rental cap.
Well, this is, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Commissioner, go ahead.
It seems to me that a vast majority of the problems that we've seen with things not being dedicated to the county, and then they fall apart 40 years later, and we still have to deal with the issues, or things like Avalon Parkway, where they're saying when they went to get it done, it sounded all well and good for Avalon Parkway to be maintained by the homeowners association, but now since it's a main thoroughfare, it makes sense for it to be maintained by the county. I would just rather it be dedicated to the county in the beginning, so that we don't have problems later on. That's just the way I see that.
All right.
Good evening, Commissioners,
Good evening.
Chairman. My name is Caleb Smith. This project, it's a 67-unit townhome project off Honey Creek Road. Mr. Wheeler did an excellent job of going through the different categories. I guess let me remind you that this is this project is already rezoned multifamily for 67 units. So what I'm proposing is keeping the 67 units, just reappropriating the front versus rear facing to allow essentially for more people to have private backyards is what we're shooting to have out of this. So, other than that, I think the garage doors and lighting fixtures, we just want the flexibility to be able to upgrade those two items that were previously, I guess, required to be held to a certain style. Just looking for flexibility there. The rental portion has been a topic, I guess, but again, still looking for flexibility. This project to either be one way or the other. I think from the Planning Commission, they said that the 5% cap needed to stay for legal reasons or something like that, but basically would like the option to have it one way or the other. And I think if it is selected to be 100% rented, to be managed by a professional management company, and that can be done in a very tasteful way. There's a lot of great examples of that, as long as it's all under one consistent management company. So, and as far as the streets go, if the streets are dedicated, or the streets should be able, if the project is chosen to be sold individually, the streets should be able to be dedicated to Rockdale County, so that the homeowners association is not required to pay to have the streets maintained, I guess, as well. So, any questions for me?
Commissioner?
No.
I have a question.
Okay.
You know, one of the advantages of a townhome, whether you rent it or you buy it, is that you don't have to worry about the yard maintenance.
That's correct.
But you're saying that if people purchase the home, the townhome, they're responsible for the yard and all of the maintenance of that for each section of the townhome. Is that what you're saying?
It depends on how the HOA, I think, is structured, but if you have a from a rental standpoint, if you have a professional management company overseeing the entire site, then they would be in charge of not only the lawn maintenance, but the actual painting and maintenance of the exterior of the buildings, the rooftops, and road shoulders, and all common areas as well. So be one company maintaining the whole
Right,
entire
but
site.
that's if all the properties are rented.
That's
But if
correct.
they're purchased, it seems to me that you would still want to have that maintenance program where
That's
someone
right,
would
yeah.
maintain
That
everything.
would be good as well, yes. And that depends, I think that would refer to the HOA and how that's structured as far as having a consistent management company.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Caleb.
Thank y'all.
All right.
We did have one person to sign up to speak in opposition, Miss Tammy Busby.
Okay, come on up, Ms. Busby.
Thank you so much for listening to me today, Board of Commissioners. I'm just a resident on that street, excuse me, on Honey Creek, where these 67 homes, townhomes are going to be built. And me and my husband have lived there, excuse me, have for about 5 years. And we moved from the Vinings area. Yes, by the headquarters. So we know about a little congestion, and we're pretty good with that. But I just wanted to tell you about some of the things that those 67 townhomes are going to experience if they come in, if they're proposed to come in. That's going to give us an additional 200 people with about 135 cars. It's also going to make the section where Honey Creek and SR 20, 3 of those sections there on that street. Across the street is an elementary school about 0.9 miles away from that supposed development. It's also going to come into a bottleneck right there at SR 20 with Honey Creek as they go 3 miles up into Conyers before they go 7 miles bottleneck into Newton County. Also, too, on that street that we're going to experience that bottleneck are the soft shoulders on the roads where the businesses and the residents that live on SR 20 have to exit and enter their homes on that bottleneck road during the peak hours of traffic as they're going to their home safely, if they can do so. Now, that's just out there on that street, because remember, also too, there's this elementary school 0.9 miles away, and there's hardly any sidewalks for those children, even if they're in that supposed 67 townhome that they could walk to, partial sidewalks. And in front of that proposed area there, no sidewalk for a mile and some up to the high school, where there's a high school that has children coming out at a certain time, and there's no sidewalks whatsoever for those kids. So now let's talk about the literal Honey Creek, the street that they live on, that the proposed 67 townhomes would be on. That's a 2-lane, east and west. The speed limit at present is 45 miles per hour. It's a curvy 1.5 miles down from the high school to the proposed subdivision, which is townhomes, which is supposed to be right there, 0.2 to the stoplight, that 40 where it's congested for that traffic to come on and traffic to go back and forth. There's also subdivisions already in there. There's Cherry Creek. Cherry Creek is connected to Stony Brook. There is the first one across the street from that subdivision, or those townhomes that are going to be put in. They have no exit. They share one road to get in and out. There's also Druids Keep, in one, out one, no way to go. There's another one Madison, I'm sorry, I don't have the name. There's 3 other subdivisions. Matter of fact, Summit and Carilon is the subdivisions right next to this development to where they want to put these 67 townhomes. Right next to that 67 townhomes is the land that holds 16 residential homes, nicely spaced homes, but probably the owner who built in that development asked them for that piece of land, and maybe they decided they didn't want it, maybe they did, who knows? But it's just a 10-mile little strip. It's just, 10 little acres, 10 little acres there. And it's right in the backyard. We spoke with the husband and the wife family that lives right behind that division that they show, and I think that's a water retention. I'm not sure what that oval shape is, but that section there too is right in the backyard of their home. We mentioned that to them about that because they might be interested in knowing that. Now I know development's important. It is important. We love that. But everything around that area are single family homes. Many, many subdivisions have single families home. There is none. All that new development, which you probably know up towards Target and up there, that's where those townhomes are. Perhaps they can come up with another way of making that fit so that all those 67 homes and those people that have to come out of there, whether it's a rental, that's going to be a lot of people coming in and out on rental. If it's owner, they may not be there as much because they're out working, paying for their nice little townhome. But still yet, that street has no sidewalks. Our way of getting past to go to the grocery store, there's no way. There's no way to get that. And then there's regular streets that go right in where that subdivision comes out of people's homes that are there. So technically what I'm saying is maybe a modification could be done if they want to do that, that was going to accommodate a place where they're going to have more accessibility, that's going to respect the homeowners around that area that took their time and hard energy to work for their homes. As I said, that one set of 67 townhomes, the aesthetic look does not complement that area. So maybe they can try something else. I don't know, I'm not in the developing world there. But they do need to consider a building on that property to add to the existing single-family homes in that area to keep that cohesive neighborhood looking as nice as it is. Because we really appreciate all the hard work that you guys do, because we asked a request. I was at the commissioning meeting, and we asked a request because they had the sign up, and we told them that the sign was too small to read, and the sign was too high. The next time we turned around, the sign was lower, and the sign was bigger.
Right.
So we know you do listen.
All right.
Which is appreciatively. So maybe you'll listen to helping them modify changes in such a way that it's going to make all homeowners over there happy and enjoy living where they are and not thinking of leaving the wonderful Rockdale that we have. Thank you for listening.
Let me, I'm gonna go off script for just 1 second. I just want to ask you, come on back up.
Sure.
If you, yes, ma'am.
Sure.
First of all, I want to say, you've only been here 5 years. Welcome to Rockdale County.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
But I'm just interested to know what attracted you to Rockdale. What brought you out of the big city into Rockdale County? Be honest.
Be honest. We've done it, me and my husband.
Okay.
Retired, did the raising, the children,
Yes,
blah, blah,
ma'am.
blah, 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 all that good stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
And as I told you where we came from in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Vinings,
Yes, ma'am.
our dollar fit Rockdale.
Okay.
The area fit. And so we appreciated being here. But if we're going to go to multiplicity of homes, we're going back to New York, we're going back to Atlanta.
Well, I thank you for
things
your
like
answer,
that.
and I heard exactly what you said, and I knew what that meant when you said your
Right.
dollar fit.
Right.
Absolutely. Let's give them a round of
Thank
applause
you.
for being in Rockdale.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's always interesting, commissioners, to hear the story of what brings people to Rockdale County. Absolutely. All right, Deputy Director Wheeler.
Yes, sir. So that was the only person who signed up to speak in opposition, but the applicant did want to use the remaining of his time to do a rebuttal real quickly.
Absolutely. Ms. Smith?
Couple quick points that I wanted to make. One major point, I guess, is that this site is already rezoned for 67 townhomes on there, so, and we're not adding any additional units to that, just making some slight modifications to this project to bring it to life in a good way. One more point that I did want to make was that this site has 40-foot buffers all the way around the site, so we're not maximizing the site. I believe, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe there's approximately 7 acres of open space left over on a 10.3 acre site. So a lot of open space, 40-foot buffers all the way around from adjoining properties, and it will include a 6-foot privacy fence all the way around the townhomes. So anyways, should be a great project.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
for your time.
Thank you for being here. Deputy Director Wheeler, what any other business you have for this evening?
No, sir.
Before we close out, Commissioners, first of all, I want to say thank you for your due diligence, patience tonight, as we've heard from a very robust community, a lot of passion tonight been displayed. I also want to make this statement on behalf, I believe, of our board, because we hear it from both sides of the community. There's roughly about 95,000 residents in Rockdale County. Some want more restaurants and Krispy Kremes, and they want 5-star hotels and 4-star hotels, but they don't want the rooftops of the people who make the money that can meet the feasibility study that will allow us to have that. And in order to have all those things, traffic naturally comes. So, and it'll always confusing, as you heard earlier tonight, where the city boundaries are and where the county boundaries are and who is in charge of what. But that's what makes a community a community. I'm glad we live in a democracy where you can come out to a meeting like this and have your say and be passionate about the things that are near and dear to you. As we stated earlier in this meeting, no decision is made tonight. She's already announced, our executive director has announced the date. I'm going to ask you to announce that date one more time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That will be on Tuesday, September the 12th, in this meeting room at 10 a.m.
Commissioner Washington, any closing comments?
Yes, I do have a few closing comments. And the people that I wanted to address a lot of the concerns that the three ladies had, but I will put them on the record. First of all, fortunately, this community is growing. We have to grow. And what we're experiencing now is growing pains. This community is set to grow, I think, at least 15% in the next 10 years. Our job as commissioners is to bring the highest quality, best developments and hold developers to standards, making sure that we utilize our resources. I held a housing summit. I held two housing summits where we had people from the Atlanta Regional Commission. We had people from Georgia Power who focus on economic and community development, as well as people that are just in the housing industry, and they do the data analysis. And they all said the same thing. Rockdale County is growing. Rockdale County, but the thing that Rockdale County does not have is a diversity of home ownerships. What they also told us is that our highest population right now in Rockdale County is the age 15 to 17. The next highest is 65 and over. That middle, the people that are going to work every day, the people that want things to do, they're not here to spend their money because we don't have, number one, the kind of housing that they need, nor do we have the things that they want us to do. Also, we are missing the housing. So people my age, me, I have a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom house. And it's just me walking around there. I don't need that because me and my lawn, we have issues, and you know, it's a lot. I'm tired of cleaning 4-bedroom. You know, it's a lot, and I'm not there. So people like me, we don't need all of that space. And the people who are the young people that are just getting started, they don't want all of that space, and they don't want to deal with yards either. So guess what they like? Townhomes. They want the ability to just walk out of their house and go deal with their children, go to basketball games, football games. I want to be able to go out and have the good time that I am known to do, and thank God it hasn't been caught on Facebook yet. But I'm saying all that to say that we have to start wrapping our mind around different types of housing, because that is what the market is dictating, and that is what's needed in this community in order for us to attract the people that have the disposable income, so that we can start using your host tax, your SPLOST, your eSPLOST. Those are the things that we benefit from when you spend your money in Rockdale County. I'm not saying that we're trying to push anybody out and we're not taking seniors' needs seriously. We are. But the other thing that was told to us when we had our transportation summit, see, we had last year we had a transportation summit. We've had one every year since 2017. Mm-hmm. We had one of the high-ranking directors of transportation come and talk about the transportation process. My question was, sir, I would like for us to be able to say, this is how we're growing, and I need for y'all to come and widen these roads. He said to us, that's not how this works. Y'all have to sit in traffic, and there has to be a huge traffic problem in order for us to for it to get put on our radar. That's what he said. And the thing is, you can tell, because look how long it's taken Courtesy Parkway to come to fruition. That thing has been in the works for almost 30 years. And I will say it's this board, and primarily the chairman, who has pushed and gone to Congress and gone to the senators and gone down to the to the governor, and has pushed to make sure that Courtesy Parkway is brought to fruition. Sigmund Road, we're expanding all of that. We're doing the best we can with the traffic, but that comes with growth, and that's part of the growing pains that we're seeing in this county. Rental versus sale. So now housing prices are so high that a lot of people can't afford the down payment for if it's a $250,000 house and you have to have a 10% down payment. Most 35-year-olds can't afford the $31,000 for their down payment. Mm-hmm. So, but they can afford 2 months rent, which a $250,000 house, the rent on that is $2,500. Mm-hmm. So whoever said that the people that will be renting aren't going to work, I guarantee you, when you have to pay a $2,500 or a $1,600 a month in rent, you're going to work every day, and you have the same value for your home as you do if you're buying it. So we have to stop in this county being housist. Instead of racist houses, discriminating against people for the type of housing that they're that they're trying to buy, because it can all work. And renters and buyers, renters are good people too, guarantee you. I know a lot of them, because planned units. Somebody was talking about not wanting the planned units next to the rental places, the townhomes next to the single family home. My brother well, my brother is United States Army retired. He retired as a lieutenant colonel. He was in Special Forces. He has a Bronze Star. He now works for USAID, where he does international economic development, has 2 children. He lives in a townhome. He lives in a townhome in a community that's right next to a bunch of houses. They make it work. He loves his townhome because he doesn't have to deal with the grass. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's a gorgeous townhome, but he can leave and come and go. And the houses next to him, they all use the same pool. They all use the same amenities. These people over here, they just like the townhomes, and these people like the houses. But you can't tell me that my brother is not a good neighbor because he lives in the townhome. You can't tell me that if he bought a house, that's not the kind of neighbor that you want living next to you because he was living in the townhome. So we're gonna have to start rethinking what we think is good. I really wanted to address the whole townhome and it looking like the projects. First of all, the townhomes over there off of Flat Shoals Road and all of those townhomes, those are $300,000 townhomes. None of them are project quality, they're high quality. And this board made sure that when people bring us townhomes, they're bringing us the highest quality that will sell in this county. And we started a standard and we're gonna continue that standard. But the truth of the matter is the townhomes are sold out. You go over there to Edgemore, the houses are having trouble being built. Every townhome sold, and because that's what the people want now. And so we've got to stop being houses. So I know that I'm a little passionate, but I'm passionate about moving this community forward in a positive direction. I'm passionate about getting middle-class people that want to spend their money here so that we can have other things. I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about moving this community forward. And I will say this over and over and over again until people start listening and understanding it. And those are my comments.
Commissioner Williams?
Well, I can't match that passion.
I was gonna say, follow that, right?
And I appreciate it. But a couple of thoughts responding to what you had to say. About 3 or 4 years ago, I have 5 children. 4 of them all have their own families. All 4 of those children who are CPAs, own their own big businesses, they were all renting. Every single one of them was renting because there were some advantages to them in that. It so happens at this point, they all own their home. But these were really nice places where they were all living. So we cannot assume that people who are renting don't care about the places that they live. As far as the housing summit that Commissioner Washington held, one statistic has stuck in my head since that event. 82% of our housing stock in Rockdale are single-family homes. 72% of people don't want single-family homes. They want apartments or townhomes. That came from Georgia Power, that came from the Atlanta Regional Commission. That's just not me making up numbers. That's real data coming at the state level. And so we are trying to be responsive, and believe me, developers would not come in and propose townhomes if they didn't think they could sell them. And if they thought there wasn't a market for them. They are going to build what there's a market for. And we need to embrace that. My last point is, I live in Old Town. Now, where I live, there's a two owner-occupied houses across the street from me. The one behind me is a duplex. The lady owns both sides, but the other side is rented out. On the other side of me, there are two houses and a garage with a unit over it. All three of those properties are rented. Around the corner, there's a brand new, very lovely, big, large home being built that will be single-family occupied. But what I'm trying to say is that mixed development, I love. And it's very stable. These people have lived here and rented those places for a long time. So I think we have to change our perspective from an update from a few years ago that we, like Commissioner Washington said, we need the whole spectrum of different kinds of housing options for people in Rockdale.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner Washington. So, right before I wrap up here, typically, normally we don't do this, but I'm going to do it tonight. The gentleman had his hand up, and because we are so open to hear from the public, and we want to take advantage of every platform to hear, I'd like for you to just come up and state your name, and then go ahead with your comments, sir.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Royston Busby. Here for my wife.
Yes, sir, Mr. Busby.
You here? I know you did. But you know something, though? I live in New York City. So when you're talking about mixed-use housing, I used to live in the Bronx. I moved to the Bronx in 1971. So when you talk about mixed-use housing, have you been to the Bronx?
Yes.
In 1971? No. I was there. The fires were burning down the buildings. So I understand all of that. I was right there. By the way, rap came from the Bronx. Okay, well let me tell you something about this. When my wife was talking about the sidewalks, we talk about that all the time. We like to walk, but on Honey Creek, there are no sidewalks. 67 townhomes coming in. That's a lot. She didn't say do not build the townhomes. Maybe they could change something a little bit. And because what it is one, you go on Google, you look at it, one straight piece of land. Now he said something about 40, what do you call it, a buffer? I already know what I mean by that, but it's a buffer. How high is the buffer? What do you mean by that?
Well, let me say this. For me allowing you to speak, you don't get to
Sorry,
engage.
you didn't say that.
I'm
You
the
didn't
only
say
one
that.
really you get talked to.
You didn't say that.
Yes, sir.
I'm back in the Bronx again.
Yes, sir. That's okay.
I'm gonna back up. But
That's
you know
okay.
something, though? The buffer, I don't understand what he means by that, but I'm thinking it's some kind of petition. And what we like to see is that the sidewalks in place, maybe a little less than 67, maybe 57, because the area, I understand what you're talking about, the mixed-use housing. I have to live in mixed-use housing. We came to Conyers. We like Conyers. We want Conyers to be the way it is. The communications tower, there's a lot of misgivings about sicknesses, and I'm not a doctor. People are fearful of those things. But somehow we have to appease the neighbors and the builder who's going to speak to them, somehow come up with something to make them appreciate that we need more towers because we have more people there.
You've gone over the limit. I want to say thank you for coming out tonight. I had you on a special time because I made special.
You had me on a special time?
Yeah, I put you on. I made some special allocations.
Well, thank you, thank you.
allotment for you. Yes, sir. But so thank you so much.
Right.
And what I want to say is that you can take a seat, sir. Mr. Busby, thank you again for you and your wife coming out and sharing. We do appreciate that. I want to say this in closing. I do appreciate the sentiments from both Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams. We are in a very unique time here in Rockdale County. Many years ago, long before any of the three of us was here, Rockdale County was still listed as a rural community in the state of Georgia. There are 159 counties. And there's still rural aspects and segments of our community today, but we're more suburban than we are rural. We are one of the 12 now counties that make up metropolitan Atlanta. We are a part of the Atlanta Regional Commission, which means that we are part of the metro. And where many, many years, 30, 40 something years ago, most of the people who were coming this way, they were coming out here because they wanted to be in a rural area and there was not a lot of density. Well, that has changed. The demographics have changed. The lifestyle of people have changed. And I won't be redundant and repeat all of what my colleagues have said, but and not only has it changed, it continues to change. So when I talked about the fact that so many folks say to us, I don't want to go to Atlanta for a nice steak. I don't want to go to Atlanta for a nice performing arts show or concert or event. We want those things here. But those people who are saying that, they work in Atlanta. But they don't want to have to go back until perhaps Monday when it's time to go. They want some of those nice amenities right here. In order to get that, watch this. The median household income in Rockdale County is $66,000. Well, that is extremely low for Krispy Kreme. It's extremely low for Houston's. It's extremely low for a four-star hotel. They're not going to put any dirt in the ground until the household income come up. How do you get it up? Rooftops. You got to have people that make the kind of income that will stabilize the community and bolster up the tax digest. When that happens, it balances out. One more time, long before we got here, the taxpayers were carrying the burden of the community like they still are today. We have a few industry and big box industries that are around here, but not just enough to take all of the burden off the taxpayers. That's been the way it is. We didn't create it. We're in the midst of the change, and sometimes it is difficult to try to educate, inform, and explain to people really what's happening now. I'm encouraging everybody that's listening, that's here tonight, if you're really concerned about Rockdale County, if you're concerned about the county, we encourage you to come out to the many opportunities we put together to educate and inform the citizens. Listen to all of the folks, and let's find that median, that happy median, because things are happening. We've got to be able to do what we need to do to entertain all of the people that live in Rockdale County. As commissioners, ain't nothing easy about this job. It's nothing easy. We are residents, and we're just as passionate about this community as anyone sitting in any one of the audiences. And as leaders, just like a leader at home, being a husband or a wife, or mom or dad, somebody's going to leave the house with the mouth poked out. Everybody's not going to be happy. It is what it is. And we accept the responsibility because leadership is ownership. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Say thank you to our planning and development staff. They're doing a fantastic job with carrying the meeting this evening. Thank you to our executive director, who is here to make sure that we're staying within all of the parliamentary rules and guidelines to conduct a meeting. She's given you the date twice as to when a decision will be made. Come, show up, please participate. Now, let me give you some good things that's happening as well. Tomorrow night we have Friday Wine Down out at Coastalville Park. You've had a long week, so we encourage you to go out to Coastalville. If you can't go out there on Friday night, guess what? Sunday we have our summer concert series at the beautiful 77 acres pristine Coastalville Park with a built-in natural waterfall. If you hadn't gone out there, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're going to have food trucks, food vendors, and bring your lawn chair, your church friend, and don't forget to bring your mama.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make one more announcement before we close out the meeting, assuming we're going to close out.
Yes.
So our September zoning public hearing has been moved to Tuesday, October the 3rd at 6 p.m. in this room. I just wanted to make sure we announced it.
All right, very good. There's no need for an executive session with this hearing tonight.
No, Mr. Chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening and be safe.